Hi, Joe Cerrone. Welcome to CAD 230 Introduction to Solidworks and our weekly Zoom classroom meeting. Okay, so today is the week before spring break. So next week we start spring break on the 13th. And so I've released the information for the midterm. And you can take the midterm today if you want. The midterm exam is available March 6th at 5 p.m. until March 20th at 11:59, and it will probably take you an hour and a half to complete the exam. The exam and the instructions are located in the content section of D2L. There's two parts to it. There's a multiple choice true false exam in D2L, quizzes and exams, and we'll be using the Honor Lock system. You'll need a webcam and a photo ID and a credit card, and I believe it's $11. If it's gone up or changed, let me know so that I can update the information, because as the teacher, I don't take the test through Honor Lock. I just write the tests. Do your best. You don't have to get everything perfect. If you have any difficulties, you can always instant message me in D2L. So when we work on the exam for the multiple choice, we're going to use Honor Lock. Okay, and so you log into the Honor Lock system and use Chrome as your browser, because the other browsers will give you an error. There is no password required for the Honor Lock access to the multiple choice exam, or part one. Okay, and so what you'll do is you'll go up to quizzes and exams. Let me see if I can view this as a student. Quizzes and exams, and I realize there's quite a bit of stuff in here, but if we go and we find the midterm, I should say 2003. So here it is. I got the little Honor Lock key here, and then when you click on it, what it'll do is it'll take you to the Honor Lock portal, and it'll look just like taking the regular exam. I think what they do is they just have somebody kind of comes in there and asks you to show your identification, and then take your webcam and pan it around the room. But you can look at it, before you get into it. You can schedule a demo, and you can always get support. Every once in a while I'll have somebody who takes the exam using a different browser, and they'll say, hey, it's asking me for a password, and I'll say, no, it shouldn't be. And if it does, just instant message me and I'll try to get it fixed. You can also ask them for support. And so here's a demo. You can schedule a demo, and then here's the support button. And so if you have problems, the live chat works quite well. That's what I'll use. Back to the main splash page. And so as we're working on our midterm, we'll have just the multiple choice test Honor Lock, because I just want to be able to verify that you guys are who you say you are. And then the hands-on midterm exam, you don't need to use Honor Lock for it. Okay, it's not set up for that. You could certainly leave the Honor Lock portal accessible, but it's not required. And so we're going to have these 5 hands-on drawings that you'll complete. There's a Word file in the midterm exam under content, which I'll show you in a minute. Put your name on it. Okay, just download the Word file and put your name on it. And then the way the exam is set up, you model the parts and calculate the mass of each part, and then you write down the mass of each part based on the material that you have selected. And that's it. It's not too hard to grade because it's all analysis. If you properly modeled it, it'll work out fine. And so that midterm exam will be due on the 20th at 11:59. And so plenty of time, 2 weeks to get that done. If we go into the content area, and then we look at the midterm exam. Here it is, midterm exam for the spring. You can just download the file here. And you can open it. And so it's all set up, 15 points for the easier ones in the beginning. Basically what you'll do, keep an eye where the origin is located. It doesn't really matter when you're just calculating mass, but when you're calculating things like CG, center of gravity, then it does matter where that's at. And so, and if you want something that's balanced, I used to make these packaging heads for Signode, and you'd pick them up with like a cherry picker, like something you would pull out of an engine or with an overhead crane. You don't want the thing to go flipping around, and so it's nice if you can know how to pick things up and have a CG or center of gravity so that it stays stable. But for the first problem, we don't have to worry about that, or the second one. They're pretty straightforward, and then the first few of them are worth 15 points, and then 25 points for this one right here. This one's a millimeter drawing. It's taken from an old CSWA. It's actually from the 2010 textbook that I have there in D2L. I like some of the content that they have in there. And then there's a fifth one, which is this this widget that you'll create. If you do it right, you can do half of it and then mirror the other half. If you like to do it twice, you can do it twice. I can't say that I always go through and use the most efficient methods, and the idea is just to get the part properly created. And so with that, you'll calculate the mass based on the information that they've given you. And in this one, it's not too bad because they'll give you a multiple choice. And so you can see if you're on target with that. And so what you'll do is you'll just download this file. You'll put your name on it, and then you'll fill in the mass for each of these different problems. You can write the mass on the part itself if you want, but then I've got to go through and double check it in another area. So I prefer if you put it onto the Word document. And then if we were to take a look at the drawing files, I've got the practice files in here also. And there is a practice exam available as well. And so I guess before I get too far, let's do it. Under quizzes and exams, and this is what I recommend. I recommend you take the practice exam a couple of times because the students typically do very well on the drawings, and then on the questions is where they'll stumble. And so there's a practice exam right here for the midterm, and you get unlimited attempts. And so if we were to look at that, you'll want to prepare yourself to take the exam because it's 100 points, and there's quite a few questions. You can use a book, you can use the computer, you can use your notes. We want you to be able to understand how to find the answers, and so I'm not against that. I'm not a big memorize everything type of instructor, but things like what is a relation in Solidworks, how are they used, give some examples, and so some of them are worth a little bit more for the written responses versus other ones which are multiple choice. And so there's quite a few questions here, so you're going to want to find a quiet place to take the exam. 92 questions worth 100 points, and like I said, you can have unlimited attempts on the practice exam. You just get one on the midterm exam, and this will definitely boost your knowledge level before you take the test. And so that's the practice exam for the multiple choice part. We talked about the hands-on practice drawings last week, and I think everybody's fine with those. And then as far as the midterm exam, this is what the drawings are going to look like. Okay, so no big surprises as far as that goes. And so next week we will not have a meeting because it's spring break. I will check, in on my D2L in case there is some issues, but take the week off. You can take the exam before the break, or just take the exam during the break. Like I say, when you can find a peaceful, quiet place to take the exam for a little while. And that's basically where we're at with the course right now. As we take a look at things, we're going to take the midterm, and then when we come back after the midterm, we'll go through threads and Hole Wizard, and then we'll get into some assemblies. And I have a bonus 3D printing project if you guys are interested in creating some 3D printed parts. It's becoming more mainstream. It's not as it's not as gee whiz as it used to be, but it is great that you can prototype these things without having to go into the machine shop and get a bunch of end mills and metal and parts all ordered. That's the nice thing about the 3D printing. With that, I'm going to stop the recording, open things up for questions, and if you have any questions or comments, just send me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Alrighty.